Greetings. My name is Dr. Erica Cirilla McCarthy, and I'm the director of the Margaret H. Ordubadian University Writing Center here at MTSU. Thank you for joining me today for this brief workshop where we'll identify some specific brainstorming strategies you can try out to see what aligns best with your learning style. In the last workshop, we prompted you to reflect on your previous approaches to writing and asked you to identify your practices within 4 types of writers: heavy planners, sequential composers, heavy revisers, procrastinators, or a combination. At the end of the reflection, we asked you, do you think it might be beneficial for you to try a different approach? What might you do? So this workshop today will detail specific approaches for one of the most challenging parts of the writing process, getting started and generating ideas. Finding the right strategy to start your pre-writing and drafting phases that works well with your learning style is key. Writing well is challenging. Therefore, we want to try out different approaches so that we settle on the approach or set of multiple approaches that works best for us. Today, I'll talk about 3 different approaches to pre-writing brainstorming in this workshop, and I invite you to try all 3 at different times to evaluate the results. All right, let's dive in. Brainstorming is part of the pre-writing stage, but it can be revisited throughout the writing process. It's an important part of the writing process, but it's often ignored. Many writers feel they don't have time for it, so they often just jump right into the drafting stage. But a blank page can be intimidating and really add to that sense of dread that typically causes procrastination. If you've waited until the last minute to write, we totally understand. So let's try something new with your next writing assignment. Start brainstorming as soon as you get the assignment. That will help you stay on top of the writing project, which will in turn help you stay on top of all of your assignments. So what does brainstorming look like? Well, it depends, but first I want to talk to you about your approach. Bring an open mind and let go of worrying about being wrong. You're brainstorming and you're not getting graded on it. You can come up with all of the ideas you want at this stage. Now, regardless of what approach your brainstorming takes, always begin with the assignment sheet. As you read through, underline key words such as analyze or argue. If your professor assigns a particular genre, such as a lab report, ask if they could provide you some examples. In the assignment sheet, read closely for word or page count or limit, expected style guide, and any guidelines or requirements on use of sources. Make sure you understand what your professor expects, and if you're unsure, feel free to ask. Ask until you fully understand the expectation. Then after all that, you can start brainstorming. Look at the notes you've taken in class discussions or lectures, and any annotations you've made on readings. Look for patterns in your notes, or circle ideas that interest you and that seem connected to the assignment sheet. Then you'll start jotting down your ideas as concepts rather than full sentences. One form of brainstorming that works well for visual, verbal, and kinesthetic learners is mind mapping. This is where you use visualization to help you come up with ideas. And here's how to get the most out of mind mapping, according to Kent State University. Quote, start in the middle of a blank page, writing or drawing the idea you intend to develop. Develop the related subtopics around the central topic, connecting each of them to the center with a line. Repeat the same process for the subtopics, generating lower level subtopics as you see fit, and connecting each of those to the corresponding subtopic. Now, when you're creating mind maps, you want to be as visual as you can. Use colors, drawings, and symbols copiously. And trust me, your brain's going to thank you. A lot of people don't want to do this because they say, well, I'm not an artist or I'm not artistic, but really don't let that keep you from trying it out. Keep the topic labels as short as possible to one single word or perhaps one single picture. In your first few mind maps, the temptation to write a complete phrase is pretty strong, but always look for the opportunity to shorten it to a single word or figure. Your mind map is going to be more effective if you do that. Provide as many visual cues as you can to emphasize important points. Put stars around particular concepts or bold them or use a nice sharp color. Please note, you don't have to be artistic to benefit from mind mapping. All of this is done to engage your brain and encourage the creative process of generating ideas. And remember, mind mapping can be high-tech or low-tech. For low-tech, you can use blank pieces of paper or a whiteboard. For high-tech, you can use any of the free online mind mapping tools on the web. Now, if you prefer a little more structure in your learning and thus in your mind mapping, consider creating a process flow chart. This is really useful in planning out, say, a science experiment or to better understand a historical moment. Instead of one topic in the center that expands to supporting and connecting subtopics, process flow focuses on hypotheses and causal relationships. Arrows illustrate flow of ideas, concepts, people, and processes. Anyone can make a process flow in Word or Google Docs, or you can also find free online tools such as Lucidchart. Another form of brainstorming is talk. That's right, talking out your ideas to another interested person is a great way for verbal and social learners to generate ideas. And we see this happen in the University Writing Center during tutoring sessions. Students come in frustrated that they can't start a paper. So tutors will go over the assignment sheet and then just start asking questions, jotting down answers. You're free to let your mind roam wherever it wants to without any fear of being wrong. Professors are also great to talk with about your ideas. They will similarly prompt you with questions that are designed to help you think more deeply about your ideas. When I think about talking as a brainstorming technique, I notice two things. Students come away refreshed and excited to write. They really can't believe how many ideas they had that talk just drew out of them. Second, once students realize this works for them, they return to it time and time again for all of their assignments. So I hope these examples have inspired you to think about what brainstorming approach will work best. For our final step of this workshop, I invite you to try out the strategies discussed today: mind mapping, process flow, and talking. Hand draw a colorful mind map. Find a mind map or process flow website that you find interesting and use that to flesh out your ideas. Ask a mentor, tutor, or professor to take notes and prompt you with questions as you talk out your ideas. Find out what works best for you and your assignment, knowing that your approach might change depending on the context of the assignment. And remember, these strategies take around 30 minutes tops. So if you think you don't have enough time, I challenge you to find 30 minutes and brainstorm before you start writing your next assignment. I think you'll find a strategy that really works for you. And remember, the writing tutors at the University Writing Center are pretty cool people to talk with. They are MTSU students just like you who happen to really enjoy talking about writing and your ideas. So we hope to see you and work with you soon. Thank you.